Ron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. I don't know who done messed up this time, but I got to tell you guys what happened this morning. Scientology is trying to have me arrested in advance of the giant protest we have scheduled on Friday evening in downtown Clearwater. What is this? I got a call from my lawyer this morning who had just gotten a call from the state attorney, who had gotten a call from the police, who had gotten a call from Scientology. What's all this about, guys? What's all this about? You're honestly not going to believe it. Let's start by me showing you a YouTube short that I uploaded 2 days ago, Saturday, of an incident that happened 1 day earlier. Now, the reason I uploaded the short is because it is a video of Scientology Sea Org member and Office of Special Affairs staff member Andrew Shape committing battery on me. That's why I uploaded it, as evidence of Scientology committing a crime against me. And just like Scientology always does, they instead went to the police and said it was I who had committed a crime against Andrew, and they wanted me arrested. Let's take a look at this, guys. This is what I published. So first, I'm going to show you the YouTube short that I uploaded. Then I'm going to show you the entire unedited video clip of the incident. Here we go.
Pat, I knew I could come here and ask you for help. Claudio and Renato Lugli have been trying to reach their son for the last 10 years. Is there any way that you could allow Flavio Lugli to contact his parents? Aaron? They're trying to reach him. Ow! Ow! What did you just do? You just hurt me. You just injured my foot. This isn't trespassing. You're lying. This is the property line. The property line is right here. You just committed battery on me. I can't believe you did that. You know perfectly well the property line is the door, not here. You can't hurt people. You can't put your hands on people, Andrew. Andrew, private property begins at the door. You know that. You can't put your hands on people, Andrew. You can't injure people. Scientologists aren't above the law. Pat, I knew I could come here.
Okay. Did anyone see me committing a crime against Andrew Shape anywhere in that video? One thing that's interesting is at no point in the video when I'm telling Andrew he just committed battery against me. Now, what you don't see is I actually say, now I'm going to have to go file a police report against you. I'm going to show you the full video clip that shows that. At no point in the video when I am saying, how could you have just battered me? Why did you do that? You can't do that. At no point did he say, what are you talking about? You just battered me. You just pushed me. Do you see what I'm saying? Even in the heat of the moment, which a Scientologist would be inclined to, like, you know, do a LeBron James flop and make all sorts of false accusations. If I had actually pushed Andrew in any way, he would have said so right there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the whole unedited clip. And let me give you a little tour before I show the actual, you know, the clip's only a couple minutes long. This property here, and I'm actually going to take my face off of it so you can see this full screen. This property here, I'll zoom out. This is Scientology's property in downtown Clearwater called the Clearwater Bank, or the CB, 500 Cleveland Street. You know, here we have Scientology's Coachman building. Here we have, just showing you where this is. This is at the intersection of Fort Harrison Avenue and Cleveland Street. This building is the location of Scientology's Office of Special Affairs Administrative Offices. It is also the building that Scientology uses for their public welcome center. As you can see here, that sign says all are welcome. And for most business hours, actually even longer than normal business hours, these doors are kept open and the public of Clearwater are welcome to enter that building. Now, because I'm an ex-Scientologist and a declared suppressive person, I know that just because I'm a member of the public, I'm not welcome in that building. I've never walked into that building. I've never attempted to walk into that building. I've never threatened to walk into that building. I've never tried to be cute and stick my foot inside the door of that building. I walk right up to the threshold, but not on the threshold. And I talk to whoever's in that building, usually for about 60 seconds, and then I leave. You'll notice I said in that video, the property line is at the door. I want to show you why I'm saying that. This here is a screen share of the Pinellas County Property Appraisers website. Now, this building is about 125 years old. So there's all sorts of weird stuff about how the streets of Clearwater are laid out and what the actual plot of lands are. You can see that, you know, the Cleveland Street has changed width over time. The city has taken property over time. The city gives back property. There's all sorts of reasons to explain why, when you look at the property line, which is the red rectangle, there are all sorts of reasons to explain why the actual legal property line is well within the actual walls of the building. Now, I've never used that as an excuse to walk into the building and make some cute argument that it's not really their building. But the fact is, the property line of that building does not begin at the first step. So, and when I say first step, let me just reorient your attention here to the first step off of the sidewalk. So you see that you have the sidewalk, you have that first step up. Take me at my word, although I'm not, you know, a legal expert in the area, that to the best of my knowledge and understanding and everything I've been able to do to verify it for myself, the property line begins at the door, not at the step. And Scientology, even though they will verbally say you're trespassing, you're trespassing, you're trespassing, Scientology has never actually tried to report me for trespassing for walking on their step up to the door. They've never filed a trespassing complaint against me. They've never called the police on me for being on that step. And I also don't make a habit of just parking myself on that step. I walk up to the door, the open door. I speak to whoever's in there for 60 seconds and I leave. I'm not trying to do anything more than that. Okay, having said that, I'm now going to show you. I haven't published this to YouTube. I haven't published it publicly. It's on my channel. It's only for the purpose of this video. Here is the entire interaction with Andrew. And I started earlier, so you can see even as I walk up to this building, the doors are open, for if that matters at all. Let me share this. Okay, here we go.
Pat, I knew I could come here and ask you for help. Claudio and Renata Lugli have been trying to reach their son for the last 10 years. Is there any way that you could allow Flavio Lugli to contact his parents?
Aaron?
They're trying to reach him.
Ow! Ow! What did you just do? You just hurt me. You just injured my foot. This isn't trespassing. You're lying. This is the property line. The property line is right here. You just committed battery on me. Andrew, you just committed battery on me. The property line is here. You just committed battery on me on camera. I can't believe you did that. You know perfectly well the property line is the door.
Interestingly enough, he's not accusing me of having done anything to him at all.
Not here. You can't hurt people. You can't put your hands on people, Andrew. Andrew, private property begins at the door. You know that. You can't put your hands on people, Andrew. Andrew, I'm going to have to go to the police and file a battery report against you. You can't injure people. Scientologists aren't above the law. But since I've got you here, I'd like to know why Oh, Peter, how are you doing, Peter?
That's Peter Mansell, notorious Scientology Office of Special Affairs operative. Guys, that was the entire interaction. That is the interaction for which Scientology is trying to have me arrested for battery against Andrew Shape, Scientology Sea Org member and member of the Office of Special Affairs. Now, here is the precise incident based on the conversation I had with my attorney, the precise moment that they seem to be saying I battered Andrew. It's when, and let me shift over to the other view here of the building so you can truly understand where we're standing. So this right-hand door, you see these big doors, left door, right door. In the video with Andrew, the left door is closed. The right door is open. Okay, so as I walked up to the door, it was open, and I held the door open with my foot because those are heavy doors and they have door stoppers. When those doors, you see them open like that, they don't stay open like that. Scientology has to put door stoppers in there to keep them open. They are heavy doors. So I was holding my camera in my hand, so I couldn't open the door with my hand. So I had the door open with my foot. Andrew, you see the older gentleman come out and try to pull the door shut on me. He was not succeeding. Andrew is standing in front of the door on the left, but it's closed. So picture it this way. Well, I don't know. We might be mirrored here. I'm standing here. The door is here. Andrew is here. Andrew takes his hands and he's slamming the door on my foot. Eventually, the door succeeds and I get pushed in Andrew's direction. And it's actually even hard to tell from my camera. It's hard to tell that I even fell into Andrew a little bit. I mean, I've watched the video 100 times, and some of the times I can see it and some of the times that I can't. But Andrew is standing very close to the front wall of he's standing very close to the door behind him. And as you can see here, the door behind him is nestled in a door jamb. Okay, so you see this? You see how the door is recessed? Maybe like 3 or 4 inches into the building. So Andrew's kind of in that little corner of like the door inside of its jamb. He's yanking the door on me. Like I legitimately hurt my foot. Like my foot is actually still in pain. Okay. I sort of fall into Andrew a little bit, and then Andrew falls into the wall a little bit. It happens in a second. It's hard to even call it a fall. It's more like I lost my balance and he lost his balance. Let's watch that part of the video one more time. Let me know if you guys can even tell.
To contact his parents.
Aaron?
They're trying to reach him.
Ow! Ow! What did
Literally
you
right
just do?
there.
You just hurt me.
Right
You
there.
just
It's literally right there. It's that fast. You could hardly even call it a fall, right?
Aaron?
They're trying to reach him.
Ow! Ow! What did you just do? You just hurt me. You
see
just
that
injured my
Andrew's-
foot.
You see how Andrew's kind of winds up there in that that nook of the door jamb where the door meets the building. I just want to play it one more time.
Any way that you could
You're
allow
trespassing?
Flavio Lugli to contact his parents?
Aaron?
They're trying to reach him.
Ow! Ow! What did you just do? You just hurt me. You just injured my foot. This isn't trespassing.
That's right. Guys, who committed battery on who? Now, there's a couple issues that could be discussed here. The issue of whether they have the right to control the space on that doorstep, which I maintain they do have the right to control that space. It also doesn't mean I'm trespassing if I'm standing there for 60 seconds. Do they have the right to close the door of their building? Of course they do. I don't maintain that they don't have a right to close the door on their building. One of the things that I have always found interesting about watching footage inside other Scientology properties, including the Scientology Test Center on Hollywood Boulevard, is that because things like this happen at those properties all the time, is that when Scientology chooses to close the door on their test center, but someone's standing in the doorway, I have noticed that Scientology does not slam the door shut on people. And if they thought they could, they would. Okay. They try to close the door. In other words, they don't escalate it to a point of physical violence against the person who's in front of the door. They say, please move away from the door. You're trespassing. Please move away from the door. Please move away from the door. They never push the person. They never shove the person, and they never start using force that would result in physical injury. And I've actually always been somewhat impressed that they show that restraint. But we also know that the reason they show that restraint is because their legal advisors have told them they have to. I have also always noticed that at other Scientology properties, and specifically there's been several instances of this at the Hollywood Test Center. Even in instances when someone from the public, from the sidewalk, goes into the building, and then Scientology, sees that they're recording or something and asks them to leave. Even in instances where the person kind of says they're going to leave, but then they don't leave, and then the security guards come. Even when the security guards come and they're angry and they're provoked and maybe they even have their pepper spray out, at no point do the security guards actually put their hands on people. And I've always thought that was very interesting. I've always also been a little bit impressed that the Sea Org members showed that restraint, because Scientologists do tend to get a little angry. And I'm saying this because, again, not an expert in the law. It just strikes me that there's a very good reason and a very legal reason why Scientology security guards do not put their hands on people and do not use force designed to create physical injury. Now, someone could say, well, really, you went, maybe someone would want to argue. Now, but you were harassing those people. It's like, well, then accuse me of harassment. That's not what I'm being accused of, It is a public welcome center. It is public property, even if it's property they may be able to have, some right of control over. In fact, Erica, definite trouble source, Erica, she said there's a word called curtilage, which sort of has to do with the generally accepted entryway and exit way, that even if technically it's public property, it's almost like a landing zone. It's almost like they get to take, have dibs on the landing area of their building, if I'm describing that properly. I'm not contesting any of those things. What I am saying, my take on this is the point. I made no effort to enter that building. They have no reason to believe I would ever make any effort to enter that building. I've walked up to that building 100 times, and I've spoken to people in there 100 times. There was nothing that occurred there that would justify initiating physical injury. And first, the older gentleman was trying to pull that door closed on me, and as hard as he could. He simply wasn't strong enough to cause me any injury. But then Andrew came over, and Andrew used his full might and weight to slam that door on my foot with an amount of force that it was absolutely calculated to cause physical injury. His effort to cause unwanted touching against my body is what caused me physical pain, disorientation, and caused me to lose my balance momentarily and fell in the direction that he was applying force strong enough to cause bodily harm. So I then fell in Andrew's direction. I didn't push him. That's the thing. That's why I know I've seen a lot of people say, dude, you need a second camera out there. You need a body cam on you to get the footage that your camera doesn't catch, because Scientology would seem to want you to believe that I pushed Andrew. And yet the footage does not show that at all. And it is not what occurred at all. Now, my lawyer, so my lawyer called me today, and he goes, I just got a phone call from the state attorney, and they believe that they have sufficient grounds to initiate a probable cause arrest against you. And I was like, for what? And then he told me it was for this. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I haven't seen the video. Okay. The state attorney has said that Scientology filed a criminal complaint against you, and the police believe they have grounds to initiate a probable cause arrest against you. The state attorney says that they don't want to do that, though, and they just want you to stay away. And I go, stay away from where? And he goes, I don't know, but they just don't want this physical escalation to continue. I go, there is no physical escalation. I've never initiated any physical contact with the Scientologist ever. And I said, you know that they're doing this because I said, in fact, I was literally going to go down there today and file the police report of battery against Andrew Shape, like I said I was going to do in the video. And he goes, well, you can do what you want, but I'm telling you, if you go down to the police station and file a report, there is a chance that they will arrest you. I said, is there a warrant for my arrest? And he said, no, it would be a probable cause arrest. And I said, well, I don't really know what that means. Like, I'm like, of course, I have no problem staying away from the Clearwater Bank building, but especially between now and the protest. Clarification. I will not be staying away from the Clearwater Bank building. I have no problem between now and the time of the protest of staying away from the Clearwater Bank building. It's a public building. It's the sidewalk is public property. I only go on public property. I'm a Clearwater citizen. I'm not going to have my rights restrained unnecessarily. But between now and the protest, of course, I'm perfectly willing to stay away from the Clearwater Bank building, especially if I'm yet again under threat of arrest. And I said, here's what you're telling me that I don't understand and I have a very hard time dealing with. I have a very hard time being told that the police report I intended to go down and file against the person who committed battery on me, for which I have the evidence, that I now can't go down and file the police report because if I do, I might be arrested. And by the way, I should add, the problem with me being arrested is not just, oh boy, that would be a real inconvenience. It's that I still have the misdemeanor battery charge that they brought against me for the Sea Org member getting that fun run powder on him hanging over my head. There's a hearing on that in a couple of weeks. I'm technically still out on bond for that charge. So if I get arrested today, I'm in jail for 3 weeks. I'm in jail for 2 to 3 weeks. If I get arrested anytime between now and that hearing, I'm in jail until the hearing. That's just how that works. And so the lawyer said how it would work if you went down to the station and you showed them the video of the incident. If the officer looks at the video and thinks the video shows you committing a crime, not Andrew committing a crime, he could arrest you right there. And I said, but that's not what the video shows. And he goes, I haven't seen the video. Can you send it to me? I said, of course I'll send it to you. I said, but this is my footage of the video. Scientology's footage, can we get Scientology's footage? Like, if that's the basis of their complaint, the police have seen Scientology's footage. The state attorney has seen Scientology's footage. Can we see Scientology's footage? So anyway, I sent the lawyer the video and I asked him those questions, and I let me double check. Have not heard back from him on that. So here's what gets super interesting, guys. You literally just saw a video of what pretty much everyone who sees the video processes as a Scientologist committing battery against me. And yet again, no justice. When is the Clearwater Police going to treat Scientology the way it treats the rest of the citizens of Clearwater? Let me show you 3 instances of physical battery being committed by a Scientologist on a Clearwater citizen. Absolutely no threat of arrest for the Scientologist. Here's 3 recent examples. Here's me being physically smacked in the arm by a Scientologist.
What's that?
That's illegal.
It's actually not illegal.
It's not public property. You can't do that.
It is public property,
No,
actually.
Go away.
It actually is public property. Did you know that?
Get out of my face.
Ma'am, you just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Go for it.
You just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Oh, let's put the camera away.
You're live on YouTube with 2,000 people watching you, just so you know.
Go away.
There you go. That's me getting smacked in the arm. Now, whether you think it's nice of me to be talking to that lady or having her on camera is irrelevant. It's entirely legal. What's not legal is to make unwanted physical contact with someone intentionally. It's not legal. I filed a police report. The woman was under absolutely no threat of arrest of any kind whatsoever. Here's Jamie being smacked by a Scientologist with a broom. Oh.
You having fun cleaning this up?
No.
See? Oh, yes.
It's illegal. Okay?
No,
It's
it's
illegal.
not. You guys doing illegal stuff. You touching my phone was illegal. You know that?
Absolutely no threat of arrest of any kind whatsoever. Here's Erica being literally hit by a car. Literally hit by a goddamn car. No threat of arrest. Absolutely no threat of arrest. Here's me. Those are the 3 incidents. And so then we'll go back to what the state attorney, what the Scientology called the police called the state attorney called my lawyer. Could you imagine if we could ever get some follow through like that from the Clearwater Police? Let's once again take a look at what I am now being threatened with arrest for after having been the victim of a battery.
I'm here and ask you for help. Claudio and Renata Lugli have been trying to reach their son for the last 10 years. Is there any way that you could allow Flavio Lugli to contact his parents?
Aaron?
They're trying to reach him.
Ow! Ow! What did you just do? You just hurt me. You just injured my foot. This isn't trespassing. You're lying. This is the property line. The property line is right here. You just
Absolutely unbelievable. When is the Clearwater Police going to treat Scientology the way it treats all of the rest of the citizens of Clearwater? It is an absolute disgrace. So I asked my attorney, I said, when I show up to the protest on Friday, am I going to be arrested? Are they threatening to arrest? Are they saying they're going to arrest me when I show up to protest on Friday? He goes, I don't think so. He's like, they just don't want this to escalate. I go, define escalation. He says that these physical altercations. I go, I have never once made physical contact with a Scientologist, not even after they have made physical contact with me. And anyway, our conversation ended with me pointing out that, like, I want to go down and file this police report. And I'm being told that if I do, there's a chance I will be taken into custody. It's absolutely disgusting. So yeah, let's look at some starred comments and we'll wrap this one up. Nicole the Kiwi, Aaron, I think it's time you wore a body cam. Also to get a second view, more of your body than your view. Yeah, it happens anyway. Let's capture all the evidence. It is a very good idea, and it is one that I will probably be doing. Linda says they have cameras. I'm sure they'll share the footage. Exactly. Arkansas Flamingo, you need to get medical documentation going forward, Aaron. Yeah, so the problem with like a foot injury like this is, you know, the pain in my foot is not something that can be photographed, you know. I was wearing leather boots. I don't know if you could quite tell on the video how much force was used into closing that door on my foot, but the pain was significant. I was not playing that up. That very, very much hurt. But you know, but here's the other thing. Battery, the crime of battery does not require physical injury. So I'm not going to go to the doctor or to get a medical note of like, oh, my foot hurts. It's like, it doesn't matter if my foot hurts or not. It does hurt, but it doesn't matter. It's not relevant to the, I mean, it's relevant to the crime, but it's not necessary for battery to have occurred. But anyway, your point is still taken. Lemon Bonbon, you can see Andrew's arm pull the door in the reflection of the window. Yes, you can also see the shadow at the top of the door, the shadow of the top of the door. You can see how many times and how hard. I guess you can't really see how hard, but you can see how many times they slammed that door on my foot. Let's actually look at that part again. And I'm going to jump over to the longer version of the video to make sure I haven't edited out any of those parts. Okay, here we go. Look on the ground at the shadow that shows the shadow of the top of the door.
Claudio and Renata Lugli have been trying to reach their son for the last 10 years. Is there any way that you could allow Flavio Lugli to contact his parents?
Aaron?
They're trying to reach him.
Ow! Ow! What did you just do? You just hurt me.
There you go. Okay. Yes. Now, so sort of like bang, bang, bang. And it wasn't until Andrew reached over and himself, Andrew's a much bigger, younger, stronger guy than that older man, used his body weight to slam that door on me. That's how I remember it. I mean, that's completely how I remember it. I almost, you know, memory can be a weird, fickle thing. Perception can be a weird, fickle thing. And so I actually very much would like to see Scientology's footage, because what's hard for me to believe, what's hard for me to accept, I refuse to accept this, is that the state attorney's office or the Clearwater police saw Scientology's version of this incident and actually believed it was something I could be arrested for. I refuse to believe this. And even if we want to say there's corruption in the Clearwater police, it's so hard for me to believe that corruption goes up to the state attorney's office. And I know people think, God, you're so fucking naive. Okay, fine. I'm naive. I really, really, really want to see Scientology's footage of this. Okay, Rambo Pierre, demand the video from Scientology to be sent to the prosecutor, Clearwater Police, and your lawyer. Charlotte, who was the police that called you? The police did not call me. So that's the thing. It was my lawyer who called me. So, you know, Scientology filed a police report. What's interesting to me is that instead of the police taking the report and making a determination to arrest me, they contacted the state attorney. And then the state, maybe because they were being shown a video and they didn't see it on their own, maybe they actually would have had to get authorization from the state attorney to initiate an arrest on something like this. All I can say is the way it was communicated to me by the lawyer is I just got off the phone with the state attorney. They said the Clearwater Police have sufficient evidence to initiate a probable cause arrest against you, but they don't want to do that. So does that mean the police don't want to do it? Or does that mean the state attorney doesn't want the police to do it? Because if the police didn't want to do it, then why did they escalate it to the state attorney? So none of it makes perfect sense to me, but I'm also not very familiar with how all these lines work, you know, just normally. So I did not get a call from a police officer. I did not get a visit from a police officer. I got a phone call from my attorney. Williams says, did Aaron hear anything about the police report he filed on Friday? So I didn't file the police report yet. So that incident happened on Friday. I went directly from this incident, directly home, directly out to take my daughter to an event, directly home, directly to the protest, directly home. And then Saturday, I uploaded the video. Sunday was yesterday. Today is when I was going to go down to the police, to the police station to file the report. Oh, the incident that happened at the protest on Friday. So I filed that report. I have called the police station twice since Friday to get the phone number for the officer that took the report so that I can speak to him. And I have not received any communication back. In fact, I called the police station just this morning and I was told he doesn't work today. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know, usually police officers have business cards. They hand out their business cards. The business cards have a phone number and an email address. Like, it would be nice if I could actually just contact the officer directly and not have to keep calling you guys and having you email the officer. And I was told we actually don't have permission to give out the contact information for the officers, even though the officers can give out their contact information. And I'm like, okay. Now, the reason I've been trying to call the officer is because he sent me a link to a website to upload the video of the incident. It is not clear to me whether the officer is writing this up as a property damage report or as a battery report. And I'm not giving them anything until I get the officer on the phone and make it clear I am not submitting a police report for damaged property. I am submitting a police report for battery. It just so happened that property was also damaged. And I wanted to make sure that before I upload evidence to this website with this case number, that this case number is for battery, not property damage. So that's the reason I've been trying to reach the officer, and I have not had word back. He doesn't work today. Hopefully I will hear back tomorrow. Okay, Jen Cass says, curtilage. Oh, hold on, I got to get this white screen off because it's messing up my lighting. Okay, curtilage is the area of land around your house that allows you to claim home, and specifically is used regarding unlawful search and seizures. There is a 4-factor determination. Unfortunately, as well, they can revoke the implied invitation to public welcome or in an area that is normally open to the public. For sure. And just to be clear, you would never hear me being like, oh, it says all welcome, so I should be welcome. Like, I know I'm not welcome, which is why I've never tried to cross the threshold of that building. Tanya says, I am 15 minutes behind, but Aaron, if you play the video again, look at the reflection in the window of the door. You can tell that you never assaulted him. It's true. It's true. Now, like I said, we did end up making physical contact because I was thrown off balance by the impact of the door and the pain of my foot. And it's very evident. It is absolutely very evident. And I am going to figure out how to file a battery report against Andrew Shape today with the Clearwater Police. Jean Marie, Aaron, get a damn body camera, my friend. This is absolutely disgusting. Shame on you, Clearwater PD. Audra in Denver, why didn't Andrew deny hurting you? Exactly, because he knew damn well that he had. On camera, he doesn't deny it because he knew what he had done. Yeah, you know, when I first saw the when I first saw the video, but also I was there, Andrew seemed genuinely worried. He seemed genuinely a little taken aback that, you know, he had just hurt me and that he knew that was going to be a problem, which honestly is probably why they rushed to the police as fast as they can to file their own report. I just cannot believe that yet again, the Clearwater Police is taking an incident where a Scientologist has abused someone else and turning it into a crime against a crime of the victim and not a crime against the victim. It is absolutely disgusting. All right, guys, that is it for now. Much more to come later today. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you